RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 YouTube talk show. Excited to be back. Looking forward to finding out what's on your radar. And the topic matter is subject matter rather is bring a topic and let's talk about it. And I got a couple articles I want to share here, and we will dive into that. So as always, tonight is the night for the announcement of the Get Your Weight Up Silver giveaway. So I'm excited to be able to help add to someone's stack, as well as talk about possibly the next giveaway that's coming soon. So other than that, hope all is well. My name is Mike, the host of Detroit's #1 YouTube talk show. And so let me check in real quick via the chat, and then we can get into a couple articles. A lot of things worth talking about. And then the phone lines will open up, 313-462-0027. We'd love to hear from you, and we can make it work. So how's everybody doing today? Let me make sure everything is working on my side because I see all types of stuff. And then we can get started. So anyway, I'll check in via chat. And then as always, if you have any thoughts or anything you want to share, call in or highlight it in the chat at Rethinking a Dollar so to stand out. And then I'll try to address it. So, all right, let me see here. We have Mastodon. We got low blood pressure. We got Barlight Broker. Doing all types of, okay. We got Eddie Cruz. We got Triple C Machine from Memphis. Appreciate you for tuning in, my friend. What else we got here? Jim Diggs in the building. Jay is in the building. What else? Aaron, Bitcoin coming back to 64K. We got My Views. What up? We got JB says, what's good? No war with China. It's all smoke and mirrors. That could be the case. That could be the case until something goes wrong, until we get an oops moment. And then next thing you know, they can start have some things flying in the air. Seymour Butts, Doge is killing it. Yeah, the digital asset space, man, is really it's doing what it was intended to do, which was to captivate everybody's attention, have you honed in on that new asset class, while all along the old monetary metals get no attention. And so that definitely plays into their favor. They, meaning the central banks and the world governments that are trying to usher in our digital world solely. So welcome. Hope everyone's doing well. Let me, before I dive in further, I'm going to do a little house cleaning, and then I'll make that announcement for the winner of the Get Your Weight Up round. And then I'll go through a couple articles that open the phone lines. And then this evening at 9:30 p.m., we're going to have the off the air hangout. So I want to make sure if everyone or if anyone who's tuning in thus far is interested in joining us for some off the air unfiltered talk, whether it be face to face or you can just hang out with us in the chat, feel free to do so. You have to become a member of the Patreon gang. And we're doing that tonight at 9:30. So, okay, let me open up some windows on my side here. And then I'll dive right in. And I won't hog the mic for long, I promise. Let me open up some stuff on my side back here, and then we can talk about it a little bit. Okay, so I want to make sure I let everybody know where and how. And so for those new to the channel, I want to make sure you guys know that rethinkingthedollar.com is the home base where articles, videos, all types of things go up to keep you guys up to date with what's going on with the channel. So in case we ever disconnected here, rethinkingthedollar.com is where you can find us at primarily. And then, as I mentioned, for those that are interested, Patreon gang, if we're going to tune in tonight, 9:30ish, hang out for a little bit. Usually go, on good nights, we usually go about 2 hours. So if you guys are interested in hanging out with us, sharing your thoughts and just having some laid back talk, become a member of the Patreon gang. And then also to make sure you guys are aware of where to hang out with us during the day. And so the social media tab beneath us, if you click on Discord as well as the Telegram, you can share articles, videos, or whatnot. And these are all the other sites where you can find Rethinking a Dollar content, just in case we get disconnected. Okay, so let me keep it moving right along. And so let me pull up some more stuff here. And so I got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 or 7 subject matters I can scroll through real quick. Just headlines that caught my attention, stuff worthy of bringing to your attention, as well as getting your feedback on. So I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more about that. And so let me go here. Actually, I don't want to go there. I don't really care about that. So one thing I want to start off with is that something that really caught my attention, and it was shared with me from Jose, my man down in Latin America, who I've interviewed a couple of times. He shared something with me that I thought was worth bringing to your attention. Didn't get a chance to dive in further to it, but I thought it was interesting. Ricardo Cruz says, what is that? Stimulus checks. Okay, so that's something worthwhile. So we can dive on that as well. But here's a little article here. I'll pull this on the screen here. And let me see here. So this is something that was shared with me yesterday via Twitter, and so I read through it, and it's something where it's it's if it's turns out to be true, then it's very interesting. So this is from a alternative media source, I believe, Hal Turner radio show. But just the subject heading was very interesting. It says bullion and cash being suddenly withdrawn from the UK territory, and so if you read through a little bit, it shows rather some looks like some heavy equipment. Not sure, but I see the Qatar, if I'm not mistaken, airline. But it talks about the Ministry of Finance and Russia has released a report that's fascinating. According to the report, a few hours ago, the top Western bankers have been dumbfounded after a 1.8 billion transfer from the Clinton Foundation was recorded by the Bank of International Settlements, and it goes on to talk about some more things. So that's something I want to dive into further, but it's very interesting to say the least of the different groups that are connected there if this story checks out. So just something I wanted to bring to your attention. Okay, in the headlines as well. Let me refresh this page here because this is something worthwhile. And it happens to be about the whole idea of sanctions with Russia. So Joe Biden had a chance, or Joe Biden came out and gave his 2 cents on activity in the Crimea area. And so it looks like sanctions are going to be passed, or more sanctions, but they've been sanctioning Russia for last couple of administrations have been sanctioning Russia, to where that has been the reason why they sped up their de-dollarization process, to where they have ultimately liquidated all their dollar liabilities. And so they're, not necessarily tied to or dependent upon the dollar anymore. They have all their currency swaps, all their interconnections with the Chinese or whatnot for the oil or whatnot. So they're not really no longer playing the dollar game. And so I think that this has a lot to do with just the continuous jawboning by the East in particular on how they want to continue to control and dictate who does what on this planet, as to where I don't think that's no longer the case. And so just to show how that might be so, there was a tweet that went out not too much longer after that video, or after that went out. And it says here, U.S. cancels Black Sea deployment of 2 warships after Biden and Putin had a call. And so just seeing that right there, the first thing that came to my mind is what exactly took place on that phone call. If that truly officially checks out, it's coming from Zero Hedge. What officially took place on that phone call? And my first thought would be that all that tough talk was probably smoothed out with some cooperation from the East. And the first thing that came to mind was that Biden, or the U.S. powers that be, more than likely back down a little bit, because I don't think Russia, they've been relatively calm and cool throughout this entire process of the U.S. bombing and imposing their force on every other country throughout this planet. So I'd imagine the U.S. dialed back a little bit, and some things were, some compromises were made, as well as probably officially the U.S. probably being turned over to that next world order agenda, and the U.S. saying, hey, we're not going to resist. We're going to just, you play it cool, we play it cool. Let this thing ride out. We got to continue to destroy America first, and then we'll be ready to go in that whole, Chinese One Belt, One Road initiative leading the way. So just some of my thoughts there. Here's something else as well. The state of Washington, D.C. statehood, what House Democrats are proposing and why it probably will fail. And this here is new in 2021, is being mentioned in the headlines, but yet the former administration, Donald Trump, mentioned that, he gave us the game plan as to what we could expect from this new administration. And of course, D.C. statehood, as well as Puerto Rico statehood, and the Supreme Court situation, packing the court. Those are all things we were told to expect. And so when I saw this, I'm thinking like, wow, everything appears to be in full motion, and we were warned ahead of time of things to expect. So that kind of puts, the prior administration in a very favorable light, as if Trump was really telling the truth, or forecasting, or just reading off the script ahead of time. He got out of turn reading ahead in the script or whatnot. So but we'll see how this plays out. At this current moment, given the current circumstances, there's so many distractions with the push to make sure there's something put in everybody's arm, that I think this type of stuff might fly through, because there'll be very little resistance from the public, and everything that might be considered resistant won't get any mainstream play, because everything we're hearing now is all about cases, testing, and everything else. So it's unfortunate, but this is kind of what's going on. Then here's something else I thought was interesting. It says IRS is probing the dark web to look for cryptocurrency and NFT tax evasion, says the IRS commissioner. So the government's missing about 1 trillion or so. I think they can bring in about 1 trillion or so in the next couple of years due to this new digital asset class. So expect more cracking down and things of that nature. And there's a lot of things that I question when it comes to the digital asset space. And especially when it comes to the payment side of things, where they tell people to go out and spend, they're giving debit cards to go out and spend, knowing that every event is taxable. I'm not quite sure who wants to be caught up in the loophole, but always having to keep track and record every transaction because it's not officially a currency and it's not legal tender. So it's taxable with everything you do ultimately. So, right, why would you actually go out swiping a card and having to, do all that extra work to, whatever. But that's just my 2 cents. Anyway, here's another one here I thought was interesting. This is from earlier in the week, but very timely, to say the least. It says China's digital currency will be distributed using a 2-tiered system to help get it into consumers' hands. And so I had a chance to read through this article here. And ultimately, it lays the foundation as to how the PBOC, the People's Bank of China, will and have put in a system to work with the commercial banks there to make sure that they are the ones that are able to issue currency directly into the people's digital wallets or onto their debit cards via the banking system. And it appears that at this current moment, the currency will float alongside or will probably be transitioned into the current digital Yuan system, which is already in place. But the new digital version of this currency is the more controlled, monitored, track, traceable format, because it's that blockchain style approach where everything is visible and they can see in real time what is done when you spend or save or whatever. And of course, it always comes with some restrictions or whatnot as to what you can and can't do with it. You won't be able to spend it in certain places and all that stuff like that. So basically, this digital revolution we're part of, the CBDC rolled out in China, is leading the way. Every other government is going to adopt it. But ultimately, what it's going to boil down to, and what comes to mind for me, is that how technology has been sold to us as a tool to use to make our lives more convenient, more easier, and all that good stuff like that. So imagine, those that have a smartwatch. You have a smartwatch, and especially an Apple Watch. That's probably the most popular one. People connect it directly to their phones, and then they monitor their entire lives according to that watch, their heart rate, their blood levels, and your steps you took, and all that activity that you are tracking on your watch. The creators of that software, which happen to be Apple, are also tracking that as well. So imagine that same format when it comes to your currency, where how many steps you take, how many your heart rate, your heartbeat, everything about your health, your entertainment, your music, everything is on that watch. Put that in the same format as into this next currency, where the creators of that technology will be able to see and monitor, and they can tell how many calories you purchase from the store. All that type of stuff is tied into this digital currency rebranding, because they're utilizing the blockchain, which was set up for this exact same purpose. So, but that's just my 2 cents. Anyway, let's keep it moving right along. Here's something that's really disturbing, extremely disturbing. And so it's a little video here from Dr. Zeke Emanuel on why the U.S. should consider a mandate. And so listen to this guy, a professor at Pennsylvania, talk about why he think it's going to be something that a government will have to do at some point if we want to get back to the normal. So I realized that the selling point for putting something into your body that is completely foreign, that doesn't belong there, that is will be more of a hindrance to you than a blessing. The selling point is that if you want to go back to what life used to be, you got to go this way. And the only way to go through it, only way to get to that point is to go through the eye of a needle and let them, put some things into you that, nobody knows about other than them. But anyway, something, you guys, but yet once again, this is this word right here, it's being used as a door opener for further conversations down the line that unfortunately we won't be able to escape. But of course, anybody who questions the narrative, we already knew this was coming. So you're not surprised. And then here's another little subject matter. CDC says 5,800 people who were fully tagged against this current situation end up getting it anyway. So did it work? Is it meant to work? Yeah. And then there's talk about the need for a booster shot or a top up every 9 to 12 months. So I'm going to leave it alone. Anyway, but that's just some headline stories. And of course, we got the Coinbase IPO yesterday, and I got my thoughts about that because I'm wondering, like, outside of being an early investor on when it was a startup and getting in early, everybody here already 30, 40, 50 times their investment. Do you really want to hold Coinbase? It's a exchange that's a mediary between the decentralized and the centralized, and its best utility is the on and off ramp of fiat currencies. What true value does Coinbase offer? Somebody let me know. I could be 100% wrong, but anyway, okay, it's enough of me ranting. I can go on and on and on. Let me actually, so we got about 100 or so people tuning in. I appreciate you guys taking time for me. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button, show your support for the channel. And then, as I mentioned before, just because the algorithms and censorship is, kind of hit me hard as far as actually being able to reach people, hit that share button and share this video so we can get a couple new folks into the group to get them thinking about stuff that you won't think about unless you're being confronted with it. And then also, I want to make sure you guys are aware that tonight, off air, unfiltered, for the Patreon, we're going to have a little off air topic, hangout, face to face, laid back, real chill, talking about these same subject matters, but more in depth to where we can speak freely because it's not being, whatever, it's not on the surface. Anyway, and then also let's get to the winner, man. So last Thursday at 6 p.m. I rolled out the Get Your Weight Up giveaway, and so the whole goal was to be able to help spread the message of getting your weight up in the form of financially protecting, preserving, trying to secure your future a little bit more by getting into something that's real, tangible, something you can feel. And so I started the Get Your Weight Up giveaway. And so for those that are new to the community, might not know, I want to put this on the screen here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to announce the winner and then basically find out, get some feedback. So here we have the limited edition. So it's going to be about 250 250 for the YouTube, 250 for my Instagram followers over there. So all together 500 rounds. And so far so good, going extremely well. I'm excited to be able to help people get their weight up in limited edition, unique coins. And so the goal was to put something in somebody's hand. And so we do have a winner. And so I want to make that announcement right now. Hopefully he's tuning in. And so the winner, let me zoom in so you guys can see what I see, because I enjoy doing this. I'm going to try to do another one real soon, probably in the next week or so. Anyway, so the winner of the first 2021 Get Your Weight Up Silver Round giveaway is Mr. Seth. And so in order to win, all you had to do was just enter your information and then just share it with other people. Bring more attention to the importance of the coin, as well as hopefully bring some people into the community. And so you would have had a chance to win. So Mr. Seth had 145 points, which means he was out there doing his thing as far as spreading the message of getting your weight up. So hopefully this little contest here brought the idea of silver to a couple more people who may not be familiar with it. So Mr. Seth, I appreciate you for participating, and I will reach out to you following. Let me know if you happen to be on here right now, and I would love to congratulate you directly. And other than that, we will be at it again with this probably next week. I'm going to try to do another one. But anyway, enough rambling. We have some stuff to talk about. Feel free to let us know. And so reach out to me. Phone lines are open. I want to hear from you guys directly. And so I'm open to take some calls. I missed about 4 or 5 calls trying to get to this point, but I got everything off the surface. Let's talk. All right. So let me check in via chat real quick. Acknowledge a couple people here. We got Mark Jenkins here. I am taking calls. Yes, I apologize. I'm trying to get through my rants without being interrupted because I lose my train of thought. I got to pick up from nowhere. Anyway, what else we got here? Let me see. Collapsing empires have a lack of trust, honesty, and justice. Let me see. We got Rolf with some thoughts here. Let me see. Institutions corrupt and no. Okay, so let's get to this call here. Appreciate that thoughts, Rolf. Let me get to this call. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, good afternoon, brother. This is Mark Jenkins calling out of LA.
Mark Jenkins from LA. What's good, my man? What's on your mind?
No, that's Atlanta. I
Oh,
apologize.
Atlanta. I'm
That's
sorry. I'm
Atlanta.
sorry. What's
Yes,
on your mind,
sir.
man?
Thanks for having me on. One thing that I really wanted to shed light on
Mm-hmm.
is the real estate industry right now is going crazy. We
Mm-hmm.
don't have any inventory nationwide, and I really feel like buyers are getting taken advantage of.
Mm.
There's a lot of people who are buying homes. They're going 20, 30, sometimes even $50,000
Yeah.
over asking the over appraisal price.
Yeah.
And I feel like not many people are shedding light on how people are getting taken advantage of. And when this market turns around, there's going to be a lot of blood on the streets. A lot of people are going to be unhappy and stuck in these homes. I just wanted to see what you thought about that.
Ah, man, good way to bring it to the forefront. So I have a couple thoughts about that because the real estate game itself, it's in a bubble. We all know that the housing prices have gone bananas, and so I'm about to pull up an article right here on the screen that talks about that. I think you're probably referring to that as well. But here's the thing: like I see a lot of articles saying that there's not enough houses, out there, but there is. It's just the price that you would have to pay to get one. And I think the biggest problem is a lot of people have already been priced out because we've been talking about over this last 10 years since the last crises we had, the continuous increase of cost, which has priced out majority of the working class itself to where it's now I think the average median size house in the country is $300,000 or something crazy like that. So then houses are there. Problem is majority of people can't afford them. The banks are not lending directly to those that are actually looking. The millennial class and younger have chosen not to purchase home because they're staying with their parents or something like that. And then I hear about reports about hedge funds in order to try to get out of the dollar or stuff like that. They're deciding to get into real estate, which is further bidding up the price of housing. So I believe the houses are available. It's just that the price that people would normally pay for them puts them in extreme bubble territory, and it will burst. And it's unfortunate, but yet people still feel comfortable holding on to something that has to correct to what would be considered fair market value, which is whatever the house you could buy it for without having financing or the ability to to borrow, which would be extremely low compared to what they are now. So it's a tragedy, but it's not over yet. It's probably going to go a lot higher.
Right. And I am a millennial. I actually own a real estate company here in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And what is killing a lot of millennials right now is the student loans. And so I actually started a petition to petition the federal government and FHA to remove student loan debt from consideration because that's killing. The average person makes, $40,000, $50,000 here in Atlanta. If you have $50,000 worth of student loans plus a car note, forget about it. You can't even buy a house.
Yeah.
And so, that's just my 2 cents. I appreciate you having me on, brother.
Thank you.
I'm going to tune back in and open up the line for some more callers. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you for calling. Thank you for calling and bringing us to our attention, man. Thank you. And good luck with what you're doing down there, my man.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Be good.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, good point. Great subject there, man. And so that's another thing, like, so ultimately what he's describing is the debt trap, the ultimate debt trap. Like, in order to enjoy the standard of living that has been set due to easy credit for the last 40 years after having gone off the gold standard, if you look at all the charts, you go to the Federal Reserve charts. All the charts spiked. Consumer credit, everything is going like that. Makes it very difficult. And then on top of that, you have the American dream concept that was sold to the children of the baby boomers in particular. My mom's, made sure that, you got to go to college, you got to get a degree to this or that, whatever. Okay, sure. But yet if you got to go into debt for something that gives no true guarantees, at the same time, we're transitioning out of the industrial age into the technology boom where a lot of things are no longer needed in a sense. It makes it very difficult. So to exist, you have to unfortunately go into debt unless you are technically savvy and know how to, maneuver and hustle and make things work for you. But yeah, student loan debt is beyond unpayable. Biden probably will, by end of this year, try to, forgive that because the fact that government considered an asset lets you know something wrong, because how is the government going to get a return on their asset unless you go to work and they're able to tax your labor for the rest of your life? So that was the government's investment in you by extending debt towards you, which at this current moment, is unsustainable. So it's unfortunate. So credit cards, student loan debt, just the debt trap is they're continuing to try to inflate this thing until they can't. And that's what all this current global situation is about. It's about how to transition us into that next monetary system, because they need to do it in a timely manner before the bubble burst. And I think they're doing the best they can to make sure that they keep this thing inflated. Given the fact that today we have all-time new highs, S&P, NASDAQ, you name it, for the conditions that we're experiencing. And I'm going to stop ranting and take some phone calls. For the conditions that we're truly experiencing at a time where supposedly every country on this planet is dealing with the worst disease or virus since the Spanish flu, and cases and the amount of people infected and deaths and store closures and unemployment and debts not being paid on car loans, house loans, homelessness. And for the stock markets to hit all-time highs shows a disconnect. Like something is completely off. Like this is the weight scale. They're trying to keep the bubble. They don't want it to burst, so they got to pump more money. So it's like, yeah, all along, people should get your weight up, but they're distracting us with this thing right here. As I mentioned, trying to keep this thing propped up because of what's up top with the derivatives game. Anyway, I'm ranting. Let's talk. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Casey from Fort Worth, Texas.
Casey from Fort Worth. What's going on, man?
Hey, did you see how Biden told those 2 U.S. warships to turn around and go home? He chickened out over Russia.
Okay, yeah. So I just put that out. I just put that on the screen a moment ago. Yeah. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, first he shouldn't be going there in the first place, but he bluffed, made us look weak.
Yeah.
And China and Russia are going to walk all over him now.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to get your thoughts. How do you see the AAIB and the BRICS banks acting whenever like the U.S. dollar collapses? Do you think they're going to just be doing what the IMF continues to do, or do you think they're just I don't know. How do you see them going in the future?
Great thoughts there. Okay, that's a lot to unpack. So I believe the infrastructure set up by the One Belt One Road initiative. China's leading that. They got the AIB, the BRICS. The BRICS is the version of the United Nations in a sense, to where you have, or not necessarily United Nations, but it's one of those governing bodies that's going to try to oversee some things. So, and of course, there's a lot of other those little acronyms that Russia has as well. So they're all interconnected. So I think they're going to try to coexist together through this transition. Then at some point, the East will have to either give in and merge, or they're going to try to unfortunately duke it out, the East versus West. And that's where all this war stuff, really becomes forefront, because there's never been a monetary transition without war. And so I think that's still a part of the game plan, because the U.S. is not just going to lay over and roll over and say, here, the dollar's dead. We'll accept the digital yuan or whatever as being the world reserve currency without going to, a fight for this. So they're going to try to exist for a while, but then eventually I think the world will have to go to the West, because the West produces everything. Everything is made in China. Everything around this world usually comes from China in some capacity. The person who produces the most and holds the most gold, which we know China does, calls the shots. And yeah, that's just my 2 cents on it, man.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir, for calling in.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's not comfortable. It's not enjoyable to say that, but it's just it's just how the cookie crumbles, man. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Mike, Tony from Oakland. How you doing, bro?
TB, doing good, my man. What's up with you?
Not too bad. We need to be careful with what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's happening is they're hiding inflation in the oil and in the lumber industry. I watched some guy on Bloomberg today talked about how his prices are up because he's looking at the future of lumber prices, not the fact that they can't get it. It's the fact that they're expecting something to happen in the future. And he said that they're going to continue to put this squeeze on. And the same way with the oil industry, he said they're going to continue to put this squeeze on until people say it's enough. And so we need to be careful and don't think that it's because of lack of inventory or lack of supply, because they got plenty of supply.
Okay, so the supply, if the supply is so abundant for wood, copper, a lot of the commodities or whatnot. Then the price. Why is the price spiking? Like, are some of those retailers holding it back because demand is so high? Like, why are we hearing so many complaints about there not being enough if there is a supply? But I believe there's always enough of everything. It's just, how much are you willing to pay for it to get in your possession is more like the answer. So you think it's not a supply issue. It's more so what? Like, so they're just holding it back or what?
It's government forced. Mm-hmm. So they can have something to blame it on. Mm-hmm. When this thing first started, I talked to a guy standing in line, talked to a guy who delivers bread for the store that I was in. Mm-hmm. And he told me, he's like, I don't know why there's not, we got bread. And he said, when this thing went down, mm-hmm. we were told to cut our bread by 30%. He said, I don't know why.
Yeah.
So, if you cut item here, item there, and then shrinkflation in your cereal, mm-hmm. You're going to have inflation.
Yeah. Okay, so that's being told to deliberately hold back, to create a scare, to create a panic, definitely sounds like something that I can imagine those of the orchestrators of this entire event trying to do. But yet my next question would be if there's a backup of inventory. A lot of stuff such as bread would go bad, and so wood wouldn't go bad. It'd be around there, and it's going to create more. It's going to create a black market, wouldn't it? It'd create a second market, because if you're a business, you're told to hold on to this lumber, you're not making money really. You know what I'm saying? More than likely, if you told to, so you're going to probably try to get it out a different way at some point to where.
No, you're making money.
Yeah,
you just raise prices. That's what we're looking at.
Okay,
you're raising your prices based on future costs.
Okay.
Not because there's no wood to be had, there's no bread to be had.
Yeah.
There's no oil to be had. Mm-hmm. You're basing it on future, like you see something coming down the road. I better raise my price now.
Okay.
And what's actually happening is we're fighting deflation.
Yeah.
If you look at the bond market, where did it go today?
Yeah.
Where did it go yesterday? We're fighting deflation, and all they can point at is lumber. Look at lumber. Look at oil. Look at the bread.
Or copper. Look at copper.
Look at copper. Yeah. That inflation's coming. It's coming. We've been fighting 2% inflation for how many years now?
Yeah. And it's,
at that point.
And that's another thing. I look at a lot of these graphs, man, that people are bringing out from and using, showing the historical charts of the CPI, how it's calculated. And of course, everything is, big gyrations up until you get to 81. And it's like, it's real small going down to, of course, to the time frame where they change the components of the baskets inside of what they use to calculate it change. And so if we were to actually get a true idea as to the cost of living according to what we truly use and live, of course, we'd have shot past that 2%, but that would be game over. And they need this thing to stay at 2%. So that gives them more time to do what they have to do for this transition. Because, it'd be hard to keep interest rates at damn near zero in an environment where we got real inflation numbers given to us by those guys. So, but hey, man,
they don't even use the PCI anymore. They use the PCE. When all else fails, what do?
Change the rules of the game, man.
Have a good one, brother.
Hey, appreciate you.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, man. Good stuff. Good to hear from you, T. All right, man. Let's keep it moving. So for those tuning in, man, if you enjoyed the back and forth, get a thumbs up. I want to acknowledge a couple people for blessing the channel. Let me go back up here in the chat and acknowledge those blessings. And let me see here did I lose them? Hope I didn't lose them. Let me see here. Give me 1 second here before I take that next call. I apologize. And so if I get behind too much, Faith Evans, I appreciate that love offering of $4.99. Thank you for being a blessing. And then there was another one that I want to acknowledge. Let me find it. Lawrence Franklin, much love, everyone. Appreciate you, my man, for that blessing. Thank you. Hello, caller. What's the name are you calling from?
Hey, Mike, this is Chris from LA in the UK.
Chris from LA in the UK. What's going on, my man?
Man, I need to call a vent. I don't know how to get through to these people out here. These people, I think they got the U.S. people beat when it comes to being brainwashed. I've tried everything I can to talk to these people, and they got the nerve to call me a conspiracy theorist, and I'm crazy. I don't know what to say to them.
Yeah.
I've even had people write down stuff on a paper. I wrote down. I had them write down every last thing that's going on, basically in plain English, like 2% survival rate, things. I mean, a 2% mortality rate, just basic things that are going on, so they can see it on paper.
Yeah.
And they see it and say, "Yeah, that doesn't make sense." And then they say, "Well, that's sure your opinion, though."
Yeah. So yeah, you can't convince a fool about anything, man. Like that's where I no longer fight it, man. I just let people be, let people stay where they are, and wish them the best, pray for them, and just hopefully everything works out for them. Because it's one thing about living in ignorance to where you either in denial or the cognitive biasness where you just refuse to accept the fact that there's another version of a story out there because you're so comfortable you don't want things to change, and you want to buy into the idea that there's only one way to get back to the old normal, and that's through the way they're telling me. And people are going to go that route and find out whatever this is meant for them to find out. But hey, you drive yourself crazy trying to continue to convince somebody of stuff to, just to question the narrative.
They can't understand why I'm not taking the vaccine. They keep asking me, why wouldn't you take it? It doesn't make sense. And I'm like, you don't even know what's in it.
Right.
But the thing that everybody is pretty much doing is they're buying cryptos. Nobody's questioning that. Everybody's buying cryptos. That's what they talk about all the time.
Yeah, the lure of profits or the lure of gain. The idea of I'm gonna get rich. But the question is, will you live long enough to enjoy those gains, man? But hey, I appreciate you for calling in, man. Good luck with everything, and stay sane, man. Oh man. Good stuff, man. Good to hear from you. Anyway, give me a call. Missed a couple calls. Good to hear from everybody. As also for those that, as I mentioned, for those tuning in, at 9:30 tonight, we're going to have a little Patreon hangout. So if you guys want to participate and talk a little bit more unfiltered, feel free to become a member of the Patreon gang, and you can join us and do a little face-to-face. Hello, Carlos. Where are you calling from?
This is Pat from Alabama. How you doing, Mike?
Pat, doing good, my man. How you doing? Do me a favor. Can you mute your computer?
I know. I'm biting it right now.
What's going on with you?
Okay. Thank God I got it fixed. I wanted to make a little comment about China, if you didn't mind.
Oh, go ahead.
Number one, they don't call it a paper dragon for a joke.
Yeah.
Number two, it's got bad technology problems when the rest of the world turns its back on it because it's incapable of innovation. Number three, it's got Europe, East China, Far East China, all the islands, including Australia, and they're all ready to give them noogies right now. They've had enough of China, and the people in China have had enough of the CCP. Things are going to happen there, but it's going to shock you. It's going to be against the Chinese, and every time they go hungry, they have a new government. They may put an emperor up there or whoever it is.
Yeah.
But they'll have a new government when they go hungry.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like the government in China has done what appears to be a great job of having built up using technology, all the control mechanisms to make sure everyone stays in line. And of course, there's, billion plus people there. So there's more than enough people that if they all united, they could definitely call some shots. But I'll be, it'd be wishful thinking to hope that they can rise up and disrupt everything going on. So that'll definitely, it'll trickle out around the world because as of right now, China seems to be leading the way as far as every other government going that direction, trying to socially control everything. Yeah.
Let's not forget, for the last 20 years, we've been killing Muslims.
Good point.
They just started.
Yeah.
They're about to get a game that we've played for 20 years. And let me tell you something, they deserve it, because when I was in Afghanistan, you'd find a cache. I speak American instead of French. You'd find a cache, and it would have Chinese writing on the canisters of ammunition and on the boxes and stuff. And they're going to get that stuff used against them. And trust me, the stands are just chock full of ammunition and caches. I've been there.
Whew. Hey, Pat, man, I appreciate you as always sharing your thoughts, and we'll see, man. But thanks for calling in.
Hey,
man.
I appreciate you.
All right, be good.
Appreciate you doing it.
Thank you. Be good. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah. All right, people, get ready to dial back with that 40-minute mark, man. And I wanted to check in and get your thoughts on a variety of things. You got a fair amount of calls in, man. So I'm trying to shift some things on my end to hopefully get more calls in. So I want to definitely do that. And so I got to figure out a different format. So I'm working on some things on my end. And that's what I'll make available for everybody to hang out after this live stream here for the Patreon, where it's more laid back and more unscripted. But anyway, that being the case, everybody, it's been great hanging out. I want to make sure I acknowledge the winner again, Mr. Seth of the RTD Get Your Weight Up giveaway. He had 145 points for basically helping bring attention to the importance of silver and getting your weight up. So hopefully that giveaway went well with everybody. And so leave me your thoughts in the comment section of this video when it's over with as to what you guys think about future giveaways and how to get more people in tune with what's going on so they can get their weight up. So other than that, everybody, it's been great hanging out. Hope everyone stays well, stay blessed, and see you in a couple hours for those hanging out with us. Other than that, be blessed, be safe, and I'll see you later. Peace.